Hello, I'm Rebecca Flaherty, and today we're going to be making this pattern in Procreate. If you're a regular here, feel free to use the timestamps to skip to the beginning of the tutorial, and if you're new here, then welcome to the Pattern Makers Toolkit. Pattern Makers Toolkit is a fun little community or club where I get to share lots of lovely resources with you, all for free, including the colour palette for today's tutorial. This pattern is mostly beginner friendly as long as you're paying attention to your snapping and following along carefully. All the dimensions will be in the description if you need to refer back to them later. Let's get right on with things now and start creating a canvas for our pattern. At this point, I feel like you already know the drill. Yep, we are using a 3600 pixel square canvas at 300 dpi, but here's a quick tip. Do you know how to save a preset canvas size in Procreate? Maybe you have a massive list of untitled canvases down here and you scroll through them trying to find the sizes you've made before. Next time you create a canvas that you use quite often, instead of leaving it saying untitled canvas up here, change this to something like pattern tile. Maybe put an emoji in there to help you find it on your list. Let's not overthink this, let's just use a clown, that will do for now. And then you can click create. And then when you come out here and create a new one, it will be down there at the bottom of your list. Just drag it to the top of your list. And then anytime you want to make a 3600 pixel canvas, which will be quite often if you're following my tutorials, you can just tap on your preset there and you don't have to go finding it in your list every time or adding yet another untitled canvas to the bottom there. And then you can have a cute little set of presets like I do. Anyway, back to the pattern. This pattern starts off with a simple rectangle, so let's create one now. Let's find the colour palette we're using for this one. It is this Brick Stripes here, and don't forget you can find this over on my website. Just choose any of these for now. It doesn't actually matter which colour you use for this first part because it's just going to be a placeholder colour. So tap on this layer and tap fill. Then I'm going to tap transform, and you want to make sure you've got nearest neighbour for your interpolation method and that you have snapping and magnetics on and turned all the way up. So tap on any of these nodes here, unlink the ratio, and we're going to make this 600 for the width and 1800 for the height. And then let's centre this on the canvas. This is the shape that we're going to use for the brick, but to get the outline effect, we're going to make a smaller rectangle to fit inside this one. So duplicate this layer. I'm just going to invert the colour so it's something different so we can see the contrast. Tap transform again, tap on this, and I'm going to unlink the ratio and I'm going to make each of these smaller by the same amount. You can use any amount you like. I'm going to go for 200 pixels less on each side, so we'll make this one 400 by 1600. And then centre that there. If you want thinner outlines, you could try just 100 pixels less, or for thicker outlines, you can make this inner rectangle even smaller. Do bear in mind though that we'll be butting these up against each other, so your actual border will be double this thickness here because it will be another shape next to it, which you'll see later. So once you have that to the size that you want and they're both centered, you can then group those. So now we're ready to start bricking these. So duplicate the group, tap transform. Let's start with our first one up here. I'm going to bring this up into the top left and snap it up into the corner there. Then duplicate this group again. We're not going to do any flattening because we need to hide these layers later. So we do need to leave everything in groups for now. So snap this one down to the middle of the canvas there. All of those snapping lines should be visible. Then you can duplicate again. Oh, actually, let's move this one here. So bring this one over so it snaps to the edge of these shapes and that it's centered on the canvas. And you can see here what I meant about this border being twice as thick because it's made up of that part and that part. So now we can duplicate this one again and snap it to the bottom here. So that should snap to the bottom of the canvas and the bottom of that shape. Then duplicate this one again, snap it up here, and then we're just going to work our way across the canvas like this. So this next row will be the same as this one. And you should also find that you're snapping to the middle of the canvas here with the right edge of these shapes. This one will be centered. Just make sure you're paying really close attention to your snapping each time. Then the last row. And although this looks like there's a thinner edge there, it's going to match up with the other half of this one over there. Likewise with these top and bottom ones. You might find when you tap transform, if I zoom in a bit, you can see some of these kind of like hairlines there. They should disappear as soon as you are not transforming. It's just a rendering issue. So if you spot lines while you're transforming, like, I'm not sure how well these are showing up. There we go. I hope you can see those. There's lines there. As soon as I come off transform, they disappear. So don't worry if you spot things like that while you've got transform enabled. So now what we need to do, hopefully you haven't run out of layers yet, we need to go through and turn off all of these pink ones, or whatever colour you've used for your bottom layers. And you can see once these are in white, they look like a really nice background border colour. There we go. And I'm just going to swipe all of these and then put them all in a group of their own. There we go. If you're short on layers, you could just delete those, or you can group all of this together and keep it as a backup like I have. I'm going to turn the background colour off now, swipe down with 3 fingers, copy all, and then swipe down again and paste. I'll put the background colour back in now. You can also duplicate that group, but if you were short on layers with that, you're definitely not going to be able to duplicate a whole group. So now we have this all on one layer, and we can go and change the colours for these now. You can use a method for colouring them, so you could do like diagonal ones or different opposite colours. I'm just going to use a random mix of colours for mine. So what I'm going to do is alpha lock this layer. I've got just a hard airbrush, I'll make that a bit bigger, and I'm just going to scribble over these. One thing you need to remember is where these ones that are cut off at the top, you also need to do the one at the bottom to match up with it, so that where they meet, the two colours will match. Unless, of course, that's a look you want to go for, in which case that's fine. But if you want all of your stripes to be a full stripe of the same colour, make sure that these two are the same, and that these two are the same, and these ones here. Once you've got your colours chosen, we're ready to test the repeat. So swipe down with 3 fingers and copy all. Swipe down again and paste. Then we can snap this up to the middle here, duplicate, tap transform again and snap this over to this side, and then duplicate and snap that down to the bottom there. And I should have been checking these as I went with a darker colour underneath. Let's just put that under there. And there's no seams down the middle, and I can just show and hide this one. There's no seams showing there either, so we are all good. I can pinch those two together and then maybe put this one step smaller again. So there we go, that's how that's looking in repeat. I want to show you one last little trick for rotating the pattern and having it repeat diagonally, in case you've not seen me do that before. So let's hide this one, swipe down again with 3 fingers, and I'm going to paste, and I've still got the tile in my clipboard. Change this from nearest neighbour to by cubic now. Rotate 45 degrees and fit it to canvas. Then I'm going to duplicate this a few times, so I'll do it 3, merge them, and then duplicate it again. Pinch those together if I can, and that will knock out any transparency on the edges. Duplicate, and then I'm going to snap one copy of it down here into this corner, and if you zoom in, that should all be tiling nicely there. Then duplicate again, tap transform, snap it into this corner, duplicate the bottom one, snap that up here. And last of all down into this corner. And that's how to make any pattern rotate at 45 degrees in Procreate. You can then pinch to merge those all together, and then we can put this one into repeat as well. This one will work just like a normal square repeat now. And let's take that one step smaller again. There we go, and that is our finished pattern. And if I show and hide this one, they've got two different ways of repeating the same pattern. Don't forget you can find this colour palette in the Pattern Makers Toolkit if you want to use it too. Pattern Makers Toolkit is a bit like a Patreon group, except it's all free. I send out one and only one email per month with a freebie in there to help you on your pattern making journey, as well as early access links to some of my YouTube tutorials and full access to all the assets in the resource library. Plus, members get 10% off all the canvases and brushes in my Etsy store. New for 2025, the email also has a set of seasonal prompts each month for helping you plan, illustrate and upload in advance for the key shopping dates in your print-on-demand stores like Spoonflower. If you'd like to join, just click on the link up here or in the description. If you're loving making patterns like this, then you will love my Skillshare class, Circle Pattern Play in Procreate. It's a 7-day creative challenge where we explore loads of fun patterns just using one simple circle as our starting point. It's all about sparking creativity, experimenting with layouts, and even discovering new colour palettes by playing around with blend modes. If you're not on Skillshare yet, you can grab 30 days free with the link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube for your weekly dose of pattern making fun. Have fun, stay creative, and I will see you soon.